Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Your Peak Life podcast. We have a special guest today. He goes by LJ Hunt for Homes, Inc. Hunt, what's up, LJ? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm great, actually. So the way that we start this off every time, as far as like a one-on-one interview, is really tell the viewers and the listeners a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how long you've been in real estate, why you got into real estate, and we'll go from there.
Pretty simple, man. I mean, I'm from here, Hampton Roads, born and raised. My dad went to Norville U High School. Granddaddy was in the Navy.
Okay.
Originally from Akron.
Akron, Ohio, huh? How
That's
about
it.
that? It's
Yeah,
crazy. I
who
marked
knew
my
that?
Ohio State today. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that would come up at all.
He fought in World War II, and been here, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, lived in all three, basically.
Gotcha.
Turned 40 last month.
The big 4-0.
Yeah. Been here about 35 of those years, so.
Okay.
Um,
So you are definitely a VB Hampton Roads local
native. That's why with the Hunt for Homes team, I say we're native and veteran owned, right? Because everybody with Iron Valley is all veterans, right? And I'm a native. Like, there's not many people that are just natives of this area.
That's very true.
I've been here this long, and about me and my life and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I talked to my wife 3 days ago. When you turn 40, it's like, damn.
Midlife crisis.
Like, wait a second, right? Yeah. So it's like, all right.
Where's the sports car,
Where
bro?
am I, right? I bought a fishing truck. That was
was
like 6 months ago, though. But I realized that I'm in the fourth phase of however many phases of my life there are, right? Like, that first phase is being a kid and, screwing off and just doing stuff you're not supposed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going to class and
or not
starting to work and and then once that phase of your life's over, it's time to kind of get out of the house and do the things that you're supposed to, right? Or late teens, early 20s, depending on a normal transition and whatnot. And I did those things for a while and worked in the hospitality industry and went to college and graduated from ODU, and then phase 3 was probably the management, like leadership portion of my life, right? Where I actually kind of grew up. I'd already been engaged and broke that off. And then I met my current wife. And we took a ride together, man. Like, we really did. I jumped in the pool then, going from Virginia Beach to Florida, from Florida to Madison, Wisconsin to Indianapolis to Detroit, and then Detroit back to here. So that was
you
like
just moved around.
Yeah, with
Why?
the company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
for work.
so I basically I started as a server at a restaurant company, worked my way up, through everything basically.
Right.
Graduated from ODU with a teaching degree. To this day, still haven't used it.
I feel like you're
theoretically.
Not
Right.
as a teacher, but
Right.
I feel like you're teaching people now.
100%, 100%, and I think that's the thing that I love the most. Right. Like, I like real estate. I like real estate a lot, but like, the thing I love is teaching people, teaching my daughter, teaching my wife, teaching team members, teaching agents, I like teaching, period.
Helping people advance themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And the right way. Right. Like, I know that there's multiple ways that people learn.
Mm-hmm.
I know by my failures that, success is just different for everybody. Like, you don't have to be me or you or Edgar or whoever, right? Making hundreds of $1,000s a year. Like, you might want to just do one deal, because you're the wife of a Navy, chief or whatever, and you don't need a ton of money, but you want to go on vacation, right? Or you want to, redo your house, right?
Yeah.
Like, me, it's a little different, right? Like, I'm looking for generational health. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do. So
I would agree, man.
So this is phase 4. Like, past 3 years, you said real estate, and we're asking about that. I left that career. I was a general manager of a, $8 million restaurant.
Yeah.
Making 100 racks.
And you quit and you came and sat here like baby in the corner every day, doing whatever anybody told you needed to do. You did. I remember.
Yeah.
Because you came in here every single day and made calls or wrote letters or you did something.
Well, that's why, and
Even if you didn't know what you needed to do, you were doing something. You
well,
know?
I was trying.
Yeah,
Like I was
exactly.
putting the work in. And that's even my team now, they're like, how did you get so far so fast? It's like, I worked.
Right.
Like, I know how to make letters. I know how to make phone calls. I know how to door knock. I know how to be on the.
From day one, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hungry because I
Yeah.
have to do this.
Right. Well, I drained my 401k.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a huge savings. Like I drained my 401k, quit my job. Like my wife was taking care of my daughter at the time. She was 2. So
And that work ethic is
it's COVID.
the
Like-
exact reason that people like myself and Andy and others in the company reached out to you to collaborate. And then that became like you went from showing agent to top producer to team lead, like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, it's quick. Well, then I've thought about like this conversation. Obviously, is the week or two has been leading up to it, and I wanted to ask you a question, right? Like, why me? Like, there were a ton of agents in there,
I mean,
right? Like,
really,
other than me being in the office all the time.
The
but,
same reason why Dalen right now, the same reason why other people in between. Because if you show up to work every day and I see you trying, I will pour into your cup.
No.
But I'm not going to empty my cup if you're not trying or at least putting forth effort or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because real estate's not a free ride. And I think people need to know that the moment they start this career. Nobody is
It's
here to hand you a
challenging.
deal. You are an independent contractor.
Period.
When people ask me, oh, how's real estate? I want to get into real estate. You know what the first thing I ask them is?
No, I don't know.
I'm
I
going
don't
to tell you
remember.
right now.
I don't remember.
Do you know anybody currently, right now, who's looking to buy or sell a house?
Yeah.
And the answer, 99.99% of the time, is a deer in the headlights. No. Exactly. So, no, you're not going to make money tomorrow. You're not getting a deal today. Like, you have a lot to learn. I was doing an interview the other day for an agent that wanted to sign on here. And they started asking me about leads. I said, listen, yes, we have lead programs, but you don't get leads till you learn how to close one.
Procure one.
Light bulb went off.
Yeah, you got to procure your own.
Well, and and that's what I
that's-
told him. So you got to go through the training for us to even entertain giving you leads, man. Like, because we can't give our hard-earned money or product or relationship that we've built away for free, because that's not how business works. If you think working a regular
good
job is
business.
hard, working for yourself, it's
Right.
not going to be easier.
Well, that's the transition I think is challenging for most agents. Is it's like, I'm supposed to be up, 6 o'clock so I can get to work by 9 or whatever it is,
Right.
and then you become that independent contractor, and it's like, well, I
don't have to answer
I don't have to
nobody.
get
Yeah.
up. I don't have to get up.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Like, but for me,
But that's why because you showed the effort consistently for a long period of time.
yeah,
You know
and
what I'm saying?
I don't even feel like I figured it out until like 6 months ago, and that's the weird part, like for real, because I'd always heard you can listen to podcasts or movies or shows or quotes or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Wake up at this time, be disciplined, Atomic Habits, like read all these books, like
Yeah.
whatever. You don't realize how it actually changes your life until you consistently do it for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and let's be 100% transparent here. You knew Chris,
yeah,
right?
that's why I'm here.
Chris,
That's why I'm
yeah,
here.
Yeah, I'll pay homage, bro. Like I got nothing bad to say about people. We just went separate ways,
Yeah,
right? So, but honestly, Chris asked me when you signed, like, "Hey, man, he's gonna be a killer. I know he's gonna be a killer. He's a hard worker, and I think you guys get along." So, like, really, truthfully, and transparently, our relationship blossomed because of Chris.
Interesting.
He was the segue to that.
Yeah.
So, and when he did that, I started paying attention.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, he's here, he's working, he's trying, and I knew that you were super successful in your previous career, so that told me that you knew how to work with people. You know what I mean? Like,
What's the business we're in?
yeah, but what we do is literally psychology. It's human psychology. Like, so the fact that you had managed people before and you knew how to deal with certain situations, because management at that level in that establishment, I'm sure you're breaking up fights, kicking people out, dealing with people's personal issues on the roster. You know what I mean?
I've heard some shit. Yeah.
So, just knowing all of that because of the level of life experience that I have, I was like, he could be really good at this, and I had seen other people from the service industry come to this side and kick ass already. So, between those things, those are the why. Your work
Gotcha.
ethic, the recommendation from Chris that we would work well together,
Yeah.
and then your performance thereafter. Obviously, once we started working together and we were doing 5, 6, 7 deals a month, it was like, okay, this makes sense.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Still is.
But now
Still
you
is.
do it with people that you train, and
Yeah.
that's probably the coolest part of the whole thing.
Well, I realized something. It's probably been a couple of months now, but the one of the biggest. I mean, it's probably been more than a couple of months. One of the biggest things that I took away from my career, right, within the hospitality industry, was understanding business without understanding business, right? Because I was in corporate America, right? So, like corporate America, they tell you, this is how it's done. This is what a P&L should look like. This is what your food cost should look like. Like,
Right.
these are the systems and the training processes and all this sort of stuff, right? Boom, 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 right? And that's also why it's called management, right? Because management, like for me, you manage things, objects, systems, processes,
Not
right?
people.
Like you
You
lead
lead
people, right? And I didn't realize that
like
really. I didn't realize that like until it just clicked. And I don't know if it was the 21 Laws or like which book that I read, and I just went, well, shit.
been doing it wrong my
That's
whole
where
life.
I've been screwing up, right? But that's how I was built. That's how it was ingrained in me, right? Like boom, boom, boom. Like if you do this, like that is exactly what will happen, right? And in order to leverage people, like you have to understand people and then manage the things around them. So that's when I really feel like that I started to take off, right? Because hell, I mean, just this year alone, like I failed a lot.
You've recovered quite well.
Yeah,
You-
but
you
I
did.
I look at it now and I'm like, all right, well, those were great learning curves and everything. And now I'm looking at like 2024 going, Jesus, like this is about to be crazy. Like if I can literally just implement some of the things that I learned this year,
Yeah, absolutely.
the sky's the limit. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
So the next question that we typically go with, and I know the answer to, we ask people like, was this your first stop in real estate? Have you been to multiple brokerages? We know the answer there. I guess the question really for you would be, with your success and your intelligence and your acumen and your income, you could easily go do whatever you want at this point. You know what I mean? As an independent contractor, why are you still here with us?
Well, I'll answer it with a couple of different things, actually. So I feel like that I have been to a few different brokerages. And it's because I've been through a lot of team members at this point, and they have
gotcha.
all come
Okay.
through from different brokerages, right?
Okay.
Like I don't go out and talk to KW or, pick your poison, right?
Right.
Not that other brokerages are poison, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, don't offend anybody.
I know,
man.
I'm not trying to. But, I've just heard war stories and horror stories. And I mean, and people don't leave, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's bad, right? It's not like, oh man, they were the greatest brokerage ever, and now I'm here. Like you don't do that, right? Like it's always one side of the coin that you hear and everything. So, the reason I'm still at Iron Valley, is a couple of different things, and I think the biggest one is going to be opportunity, right? Like I see leadership, right? And I see what this leadership has done to change my life in the past 3 years, right? And it's exponential compared to the first 37 of my life, right? Like my parents didn't teach me about finance. My parents didn't teach me about, business.
Putting yourself on payroll,
Yeah,
hiring an
any of
assistant,
all that stuff,
leverage,
right?
getting your
Right?
time
Yeah,
back.
return on investment, right? They taught me work ethic,
Right.
hard work, being a good person, but we started lower middle class, right? Like my parents are still struggling a little bit.
Right.
My goal, and we've all kind of heard this, right? Well, the people that we hang around, being the one, right? To break that cycle, like to be the one in your family to change the future, basically, right?
Show
Of your
show
family, of your
everybody
family
that
name.
there's another way.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, and we ask what's your peak life look like? Like mine is.
That's the next question. Bro.
Yeah, is it?
You must have
Well, there
been
you go.
watching the episodes.
Yeah, I watched the first 3. I do my research. I
Yeah.
mean, that's part of who I am.
Absolutely. And part of your success.
Yeah, well, I've read more books and podcasts. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like I don't just work 40 hours a week or whatever it is when
Right.
I'm in the
You
office.
still get self-improvement.
Everything.
Yeah.
because that's how you create generational health, right? And that's what is different. That's what my mindset is set on, right? It's not generational wealth. It's not, buying a fancy car, right? It's changing the way that my family looks at life. Right. It's creating love and health and making sure that they live longer and are happier when they're doing it.
I love it. Erasing toxicity and
that's it.
Unnecessary masculinity and everything pushed by society that just isn't true.
I mean, society is going to do whatever it's going to do, right? Like, but I know for a fact, like inside in my core, like I'm an alpha male because the only job that I have is to protect my wife and daughter and provide for them, right? And that's like some caveman shit if you think about it. Like to my
it's
core,
actually human nature.
Well,
and in
we're
my opinion,
animals.
how it should be.
Well, but that's what's important, right? Is taking care of your family, right? Absolutely. So in order for, there's there's a billion acronyms for everything, right? But I use the 5 F's, right? With the hidden F, basically. So you've got family, you got fun, right? Friends, faith, and fitness. That's all that matters, right? But all 5 of those are run by the hidden F. It's finance, right? Like the machine is about money, right?
None of that happens without the ability to do it.
Right.
Right.
So, and the only way that you can make money, right,
is to work. Or create a product, fill a need, right? Invent something.
Well, that's business. I mean, you only need 4 things in business when you think about it. You need a product, you need capital, you need a place to do it, and you need people to sell it to. Yeah. That's it. It's a business. There you go. Write that down.
Sound like you learned a lot in the last few years, my friend.
Well, it's interesting integrating it from my past experiences, right? Like that's
just like we all do with our military experience.
Exactly.
The structure, the systems, the procedures, like it all comes from that.
100%.
The diversity, it comes from that.
Yep.
And I think that's why service industry people do so well is because you've also dealt with all walks of life, different ages, different job levels and positions, different everything.
Well, they do great because they deal with people all the time, whether it's, the bussers or the servers, the kitchen guys, or, the dishwashers or the people in the seats. I mean, you're just dealing with people. Yeah. It's a nonstop people business. And that's what we do here. We deal with the lenders and the home insurance and the clients and the team members and
the appraisers.
It's the same thing. It's just a different
the underwriter
level,
right? The closer. Yeah. Same stuff, different industry. That's all it really is.
Well, that's sales though. At the same time, like if I'm going to get tipped, same thing as getting a commission. Right. I mean, that's my tip.
Based on your service, right?
Well, based on your value.
Yeah. What's the value of your service?
That's really what it boils down to.
Right. Because technically we all provide the same service.
Yeah. Well, if you're licensed, you can do that.
At what level, Right. I tell everybody not all licensees are built the same. It's like thinking that everybody that has a driver's license has the same ability to drive.
Right.
No. That's not true.
What is it? If everybody did what I did, wouldn't we all get the same results?
Yeah.
I mean, we all do the same thing.
We've identified then that your peak life to you is generational health.
Health and love, yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, again, right? Like, what is love?
Well, what's your love language? That's a whole nother segment.
Well, there's 5 of those, but what is love? What is the physicality? Like, what is love? Like, what is it?
The number one basic human need is what I would call it.
Right. So what is, like, it's trust and joy. You can love your brother different than your wife or different than your dad or different than, your pet, right? Yeah. But it's like, it's literally about those 2 things for me. Like, if you are joyous when you're around somebody, when you're like just blissfully happy, right? Because to be in their presence and you trust them, like that's love. Yeah. That's it.
So for me, I think that you can have love for somebody, but that's different than loving someone. I can have appreciation for somebody's positive and negative impact. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I can have love for the things that you were there for, but if you fell off the wagon or you disrespected me or you did me wrong or whatever, I don't love you.
Right, what's a noun versus a verb?
Because you were faking. You know what I'm saying? So it's like how people just throw that word around, and I just think it's diluted.
Well, yeah. I mean, isn't the whole freaking world diluted? Like, that's what water is, right? It dilutes everything.
I try not to watch the news and I erase all ignorance from my news feeds on social media. So,
Well,
but yes,
but that's also a part of health, right? Like that's the generational health that I'm talking about.
yeah,
is
you
it's
are
like,
what you take in. You know what
period,
I mean?
or what you
it's
do.
up to you.
I mean,
yeah,
you know, I didn't just randomly say, hey, I'm gonna start waking up at 4:30 every day. You know, like I started at 6 and went back to
you had to
5:30,
create a
and
habit.
then went back to 5, and then my kids started school. In
Well,
September.
lately
I was
I'm
like,
on the other side. Now it's gone from 4 to 5 to, well, maybe we could sleep in because the clock's going back.
yeah,
Like,
funny.
I told Edgar this morning, I said, bro, I was waiting for you to text me, but also like I'm glad you didn't. Because we all get tired, bro. It's Sunday morning.
Absolutely.
We've been going 7 days a week for like several months now.
Mm-hmm.
So I know my limit.
health.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. Like you gotta balance it. Like you can't wake up. I mean, if you wake up at 4:30 every single day, you're never gonna go to a concert like I did with my wife on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Like I woke up at 6 the next day.
Right.
I'm not ashamed to say it, right? But it was worth it,
Yeah. No,
right? Because that filled up one of my buckets.
But you also earned it.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So, well, you've answered the Your Peak Life, and I'm not going to let the previous question you asked of me count. Well, we didn't. No, I missed one. So I want to know, what does LJ Hunt's life look like in 5 years? Not just in business, but all the way around.
Like my 5-year goals.
Yeah. What do
Just
you
in general.
expect your life to be like 5 years from now? You know?
I'll be 45, right? So I'm 10 years away from retirement.
At that point.
At that point, yeah, I'm 15 now. So, I mean, that's the goal that I set, right? So, as far as, I mean, I'm hoping to have another kid by then.
Okay.
All right, that's one. Wife and I are working on that.
You want a boy?
I don't, healthy. I mean, I really
Yeah.
don't, it's
got
really, it's wild. My daughter wants a girl. I'm like, all right, another baby? She's like, yeah, it's baby sister. I'm like, what if we have a baby brother? She's like, no, baby sister. Baby, I don't get to choose that. Like,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'll try, though.
Well, give it a whirl, but
I'll give
she
it a
wants
whirl.
She wants a baby sister. Mommy,
I'm
I'll try.
really not control that. It's like 2023 is crazy, but I don't know if we're that advanced
Not
yet.
yet. Not yet, right? So fatherhood, I mean, I want my wife to be happy. I want to be happy and joyful. I want my renovations to be done, which should be in a year, hopefully, with the new house that we bought. I want a couple of rental properties, a little bit of passive income. I mean, I want to be on that track to retirement, right? Like my business, the Hunt for Homes team, like I have a vision for that business where basically there's a branch in kind of each one of the offices within Iron Valley within Virginia right now, right? So I've taught people in this locale, right, how to do what it is with my processes and systems and whatnot, and then I want to do that in Chesapeake and then Red Mill and then Newport News and then if we're going to Suffolk and Norfolk and Richmond, wherever we're going, right?
Yeah.
And to do that, basically be the director of operations of the team, right? Because I want to finally get to business owner as opposed to self-employed because I'm
Okay.
still self-employed right now.
So let's talk about that. Do you see yourself graduating from a team lead to a broker at some point, or maybe a brokerage owner? Or is that an endeavor you don't want to take on?
So it's going to depend, right? Because I don't 100% know what that entails, right? I have a vision of what
Trust me, I know.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not going to commit either way just because I don't know what that entails. Like
Yeah.
what I see, right, for the teamerage, if you want to call it that, I think that's the name for what I'm trying to do, is I know that I have to be in charge of the agents there and agents there and agents there, right? If I become a broker, like we got 220 some change, whatever,
40.
yeah, 200, 240, whatever the number is, right? Like, but I also don't know the intricacies of running that business or that franchise or those sort of things. Can I see myself doing it? Absolutely. But this is step one, right? Like I could absolutely see myself sitting next to you guys at the company meetings and stuff like that down the road, but I don't know, again, what it entails. I might not want to do that. I might want to run my team and sit on my farm and take care of the chickens and do
Yeah, no
whatever,
doubt.
you know? I mean, I don't know. Well, again, it's about health and love and I don't know, peace. The answer is yes, but no, because
Yeah.
again, I'm
But the
ignorant to
5-year
it.
plan is expand the team, finish renovations on the house, add a child to the family.
Yeah. I mean, to get the team and everything like firing on all cylinders. And I mean, just all cylinder, right? So, the quadrants, right? Employee, self-employed, business, investor, right? I'd like to be an investor in 5. That'd be nice, right? Business firing on all cylinders.
I would say I'm kind of both at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is crazy because I'm still selling houses, but I love it, man.
Yeah, but you've gotten to the point where you've got your hand in the last 3 quadrants, right? So you're still self-employed because you're selling some houses, right? I mean, let's be honest, right? Noble runs itself for the most part. Like, you've got enough partners and everything that's going on. You're working on the same thing here in Iron Valley, right? And then you've got your own thing where you're flipping houses and doing, right? So that's your investor, right? So it's not like you're doing any of that work other than procuring the deals. So you've got your hand in all 3 of those, right?
Absolutely.
For me, I'm still just in that self-employed.
I walked away
project.
from that landlord shit last year, though. I sold my rental property process. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I absolutely despise being a landlord. I cannot stand having rental property. I can't.
One of my things is to make sure that, again, the family's taken care of, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like, so I'm looking at maybe purchasing rental properties to help out the family, right?
So if you do, are you going to manage them, or are you going to put a property manager in place?
I mean, I technically started that 3 days ago, unwillingly, but kind of did. Right, the property management side of our real estate business was my neighbor's house, right? So I'm dabbling in that for now, but my goal is to have somebody take it over that's got the experience.
That
for
was
it,
going
right?
to be my
Like,
recommendation to you. Was looking back on it, I would have chosen a different property manager the first go around, and then the second go around, I was the property manager, and I was always fielding something.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
And then, yeah.
I mean, I am now.
So looking back, I would
eventually.
I would just say definitely get a property manager, but make sure they're going to do their job.
Right.
Yeah. Just my advice from being a landlord, man. It was some of those days where move out days were the worst. You walk in and 12, 15, 20 grand in damage. You know what I mean? Like, simply based on people not making those monthly visits or not upholding the standards set forth in the agreements, and then of course COVID was not good for owners that were landlords. Everything was in the tenant's favor. So there's a lot that goes into it, man. I think people don't really think about all of it. So just put the right people in place. That's my personal recommendation.
That's with everything in business, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean that's
hire slow,
what
fire
I've learned.
fast.
That's I've learned a lot of that. I mean, it's really about how you lead and train the people to do what you want, right? Like, if I want something
or
done,
what they need, not necessarily what you want, because sometimes what you want is simply what they need to reach where they're trying to go.
right?
You know what I mean? I just didn't want that to sound or be taken wrong. Like, it's not necessarily about what we want. It's about what we know they need to do to get what they want. As a leader, like, I'm trying to get you to your goals. So I have to be able to convince you that these activities lead to that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that my client care coordinator is the perfect example of that, right? Like, when I brought her on, I was like, it's really going to depend on what you want to do, right? And then I can shift and pivot from there, right? Do you want to own your own client care coordination business? Do you want to be an agent?
Right.
Do you want to do both for a while? Like, what's the end game for you, right? So she just got her license. She's getting ready to dabble
Shout out
in
to
agency.
Asia. Congrats.
Yeah. I'm pumped, And I feel like that she could be one of the people that takes over one of those branches. You see what I'm saying? So, but who knows? I had a team member that was rocking and rolling and crushing it and doing good. And he was like, man, I hate real estate. And I'm like, well, then you should probably stop doing it, bro. And he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to. All right, cool. Like, we got 2 deals that he's getting ready to close this month. He's going to make, a ton of money, but he walked away. No, you don't want to do it. He doesn't like making the calls. He doesn't like, following up with the people. He doesn't like the actual activities behind real estate, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the ones that get you to
the deal, the
Facebook
close.
feed,
Yeah,
the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody sees. They're like, oh, I can get my license to make $1 million. Yeah, if you're really good at what you do.
And you scale.
Yep.
Like,
absolutely.
It's not fun to do 10 deals a month. I don't want to do that.
No, it's not, especially if you're doing it all.
No, I don't want to do that.
That's why you need leverage and good people. Well, lastly, you asked me a question earlier, but that was kind of a piece of our conversation. But what we've been doing is I interview and ask people questions here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been asking people, do you have a question for me that I can answer while you got me in the hot seat? Anything you want to ask.
Well, I heard the one about your wife. So
Chris
I thought
Castle,
I
bro.
thought that was just
Yeah, he
clutch.
came, and trust me, he didn't even
So
know I
clutch.
was going to ask him that.
Yeah,
That
so
was off the
clutch.
top.
That was such a good one. And I think that looking around, the owners and everything, like every one of us has somebody behind them, right? Like you luckily just got yours a couple of years ago, right? When you met her, I mean, he's got Cookie, Edwin's got Rebecca, like Andy's got stuff, like Eric's got Jackie, like everybody's got that person, right? Yeah. How do you slow your time down mentally in your head? Because I've realized that is really how successful people actually get things done, right? Is like their time management, their brain elasticity of being able to brush my teeth, right, while I'm thinking about other shit, right? Yeah. How do you continue to slow your time down to be more efficient and get more ROI?
So I think it's just that I'm a creature of habit. So when I started doing the days early and started doing the morning affirmations and my coffee and the gym and all those things I do before I tend to the children or the wife or the pets or whatever it is I'm doing, starting my day sooner and being able to pour into myself before I start pouring into other people for the day. The early morning and, the other owners and probably the staff would attest to this. You'll randomly get psychobabble copy in the group chat or the staff chat 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m. any day of the week, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, to a point where I would have to go in there and say, hey, just so everybody understands, I don't expect anybody to do any work today, but I have to get this out of my brain or I'll forget or I won't execute on it. So for me, I organize my mental cabinet every morning. So my follow-up takes place in the morning where we train agents to do their follow-up a certain time and service clients a certain time. Because I have to service the company and the agents and our staff, I switch my schedule to do that first and handle my personal business later. Okay. But I still, every single day, I'm tending to me first. I wake up before anybody in my house.
That's number one. Like you can't take care of anybody else. Don't take care of yourself.
Edgar and I try to make it to the gym 5 days a week. Some weeks we make it 3 or 4. Some weeks maybe he's on a trip or I'm out of town or whatever, but I work out with my wife on any time we're out of town. You know what I mean? Any establishment we stay in, we go to the gym and hit it. Like, and I always something about tending to my personal like stuff that I own. Like I'm super into cleaning my house just because I appreciate having it. I love having a well-maintained and beautiful yard. I like to teach my son things and my daughter like things about life. Like the other day I was going to the bank and I said, hey man, my son's 10. Come with me. I'm going to teach you how to deposit this check in the bank. And I'm going to show you where it came from, man. I'm going to teach you about how when I die, you get these checks. Because that's how I think because I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
So I pulled my monthly earnings from one of my businesses from my visor. I showed my son. I told him and explained to him that this pays all the bills at the house. It pays, you know what I mean? Like I just, I want him to know the things that nobody took the time to teach me. So he's not at a disadvantage.
Doesn't teach us those ones. Like that's one of the challenges.
I mean, yeah, but people with their parents in their life that actually raise them, they have an advantage, bro. Like
generational health.
They don't know that because they've never not had it.
Right.
But when you come from a place where your mother or your father did not raise you and they weren't educated and all they did was drugs and they didn't raise any of their kids, like I feel that it is my like livelihood obligation to ensure that my children carry our family name in a different fashion. But those are the things that keep me grounded. You know, it took me a long time to get to a point where at 5 o'clock I turn it off, you know. But we were building then. Now I have the supporting cast with all my partners and all the staff where Mike doesn't have to do as much as he had to do before.
But that's you slowing your time down.
We may be doing more of other things, but we have the right people in place and processes in place now that allow me to let it go when I'm not here. You know, I couldn't do that for probably the first year and a half or two.
Yeah.
But now creeping on year 4, you know, we're in a spot like, yeah, we come here Sunday and shoot a podcast, but that might be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on how many people sign up, right? We train on Saturday mornings, but that's 3 to 4 hours. So it's not like my entire life is ruined, you know, because the other thing that people probably don't think about, man, I did 14 years in the Navy. Over a decade of that, I was on ships. I'm used to working 16, 18, 20-hour days. I'm used to staying up for 2 or 3 days straight to get something finished because if you don't, somebody might die. So it's just different. I don't think about things that most people lose their mind over. Like, I don't stress over little shit. If you see me pissed off, it's probably important.
It's funny. I was listening to Ed Milet this morning, and he said, you know, problems lead to progress, right?
Yeah.
And the challenge is that we dwell on those problems instead of dwelling on the solutions.
I am a solution dweller.
If you put 90% of your effort into the solution and 10% in the problem, because the problem's there.
Dude, you can ask any of
how we fix
the
it.
owners or business partners. I am never one to give a shit about the issue. I only want to discuss the solution. Like, yes, I understand there's a problem, but it's our job as leadership and ownership and people that lead other people and quite frankly provide for other people to ensure that we're making the best decisions and doing so in a timely fashion. There's a saying that bad news does not get better with time.
You told me that about 2 years ago.
So, you know, and I apply that to everything.
Deliver it.
Whether it's a personal relationship, a business relationship, an agency relationship, it's the same every time. When something's going on with my children, bro, it is addressed as fast as I think it should be. Like, I don't like knee-jerk reaction. I'll think about it and process it, but within 24 hours, that is getting addressed. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is, dude. Like, I'm just efficient with that. I don't want low-hanging fruit on my mind. You know what I mean? When we leave a business meeting, whatever we have decided we're going to do, I go straight to doing that. Not, oh, what's my next commission check? I work for the people now. I'm not working for myself. And I guess I never really was, you know, because if you look back on it, like, a lot of the people here are previous clients of mine or people that I trained, led, and groomed. You know what I mean? So I just, I don't know, man. Like, I have a different motor, and I think it's highly based on my upbringing and then some of the challenges as an adult that I faced before I went into real estate full time. But I need that first couple hours of the day or I would go insane.
I realized that last month for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I had bought the house, right? And I was managing that and trying to figure, like, that
You
hits
stop
different.
taking care of yourself.
That hits different, dude. Like, writing a picker for yourself as opposed to writing it.
Dude, I know.
You know, like,
and then you spend all this money on the house and you go in and tear it apart. I just did it last summer.
I know,
Like,
right? And then, like, next thing I know, I realized that, like, I hadn't been in the gym in like 2 weeks. I was like,
what am I doing?
I looked at my wife and I was like, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow and see what that does, right? Because she was like, "Man, you've just been super stressed." I'm like, "Well,
and
babe, what
is
are we dealing with right now? Are you
changes
kidding
your
me?"
whole mindset, though.
Yeah. So, like, she actually looked at me 3 or 4 days ago and she goes, "When was the last time you were at the gym?" I was like, "Yesterday." She goes, "Good."
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
good. Like,
yeah, for
she
sure.
knows now that, like, that's my time, right? Like, that's because I wake up same thing, 4:30 every morning, take care of stuff, right? 5 o'clock. I'm either heading to the gym because I got to be back by 6 to shower by 6:15 because my kid wakes up at 6:30, right, for school. Boom. Or I might be taking care of a transaction. It might be falling apart or something. So I'll
Yeah.
like balance it, whatever's kind of going on for that day, or a team meeting, or, just kind of depends.
Yeah.
So
And I think I'm good at, like, I call it separation of church and state, right? If I'm in the gym, if me and Edgar are in the gym, we're not usually talking about work, We talk about the kids and our spouses and new music, cars, like the shit that we like
Yeah,
in
fun
life.
stuff.
Like I
Fun.
don't just
One
sell
of the 5
real
Fs.
estate. I don't just train real estate agents. Like I have a life too, So I think I just do a good job of that. In the morning it's me. During the day it's business and our people. In the afternoon and evening it's my clients and then my family.
Yep.
So that's kind of my day.
my trajectory is similar every day, right? Not at the level of you, but I think I'm working my way that way.
It took me probably 2 years of conscious effort to learn when to shut it off. Like now I train people to, you're the doctor, don't let these people run your time, run your business that way, make your schedule. Like obviously for anybody in real estate, the first couple of years, you're probably just running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same way when you open a business during a pandemic.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So the first year or two, I think personal relationships were sacrificed a little bit, and I'm not doing that anymore, and I won't. I refuse to. I think we're at a point where if I want to sit in my house and hang out with my family and not answer to anybody, I can do that.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
that's where the health comes in my mind, right? Like, so you asked me where I want to be in 5 years, like
There.
oh yeah, just like, all right, I can go fishing for a weekend
And not
right?
lose my mind.
Yeah, and
Know
not be
everything's taken care of.
not be writing a. I mean, I wrote 2 contracts while I was sitting on the beach in the truck, right?
The beauty
Connected to
of-
hotspot.
It's the beauty of real estate, man.
Like,
So
so it just depends, man. And I want to get to the point where it's like, hey, contact this person, right? Because I'm gonna be gone for 3 days and actually spending time with my family.
absolutely. So to that point, now Andy's in Mexico on vacation with his wife right now, but he knows yesterday training was conducted.
Mm-hmm.
Today podcasts are being done, and we know that when he gets back in town, Eric is going to Mexico with his family, right?
Perfect.
But Eric knows when he's out of town, I'll probably be in Red Mill more often because I know he's not there.
Yeah.
Right? Simple stuff, man. We call it covering down in the military. Like, you got my back, I got yours, no matter what. And that's how we run the company, and that's given me the freedom to compartmentalize, like we just discussed. So,
Right. Okay.
but I think that's it for today, man. We appreciate you coming in, and
Thanks for having me.
look forward to continue watching the team grow and watching your life change, man.
We'll see what happens.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, man.
congrats.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.